BYD have just launched the new Sea Lion, and probably of more interest to most of you is the new platform. They've got a whole new electric car platform. It's the same platform that is in the BYD Seal, the BYD Dolphin, and the Atto 3, but it's an evolution of that platform. It's like a better version of that platform. Here are the details. Here are the differences between the two platforms. There's quite a lot of marketing speak here. I'm going to avoid all that and just give you guys the straight facts as quickly as I can. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Welcome to all the new subscribers. I know a lot of you guys have come on board because of a lot of the information about what Tony Sieber's been saying. I will definitely have more about Tony, and I'm hoping to interview Tony very soon on the channel. Just trying to get in contact with him now. Now, the new BYD Sea Lion, it's been revealed here, and it is clearly intended to be BYD's most direct Model Y, Tesla Model Y competitor. It's clearly aimed at the Model Y. The size is very, very similar to a Tesla Model Y. The actual sort of shape of the car is very, very similar. The range is similar, a little bit less range than the Tesla Model Y, but very similar. And it's got new features as well. So before I go into the Sea Lion, the new platform, the new e-platform 3.0 Evo, it's what it's called, Evo. I'm going to guess it means the platform is possibly a little bit lighter. BYD's EVs, they're not that light. I mean, they're not heavy either, but they're not quite as light as Tesla vehicles. They're approximately 10 to 20% heavier based on similar size cars. Now, of course, there's some reasons for that, but I think this new e-platform 3.0 Evo is possibly going to be a lighter version of the existing platform. Now, that's my speculation, guys. That's why I'm thinking they're calling it Evo rather than platform 4.0. But we do know a few things. We know that for one, BYD have new blade batteries with a high energy density. I call them blade battery version 2. They have a higher energy density. I think it's about a 20% improvement in energy density. Unfortunately, the new BYD Sea Lion doesn't appear to be coming with those batteries, at least initially anyway. Now, the other change to the e-platform 3.0 is faster charging. Apparently, BYD vehicles will be able to charge much better in cold temperatures. So in very cold temperatures, lithium iron phosphate batteries, their charging performance it's pretty significantly affected. BYD say big improvement, big change with their new batteries, with their new e-platform. Faster charging, significantly faster charging by I think about 30 to 40% in very cold temperatures. Charging speeds as well are faster. BYD haven't actually outlined exactly what those charging speeds are, but they did outline what the charging speed of the Sea Lion is, not the exact speed, but how fast it can get from 20% charge to 80%. So it's improved versus other BYD vehicles. They also said that the new motors, they can spin at up to 23,000 RPM. That allows them to they have more power for one and higher top speeds. So far, everything else you're going to hear about these new e-platform, it's just like marketing stuff where they say 12-in-1 electric system, which improves integration over the 8-in-1 e-platform 3.0. To be honest, that stuff doesn't actually really mean anything. Anyhow, is this a good car worth considering? Well, for one, it's meant to be coming to Australia. I've heard the Sea Lion is coming to Australia. I know there's a plug-in hybrid version coming. This is the fully electric version. This has nothing to do with that version. So in my opinion, yeah, I would definitely consider this. It'd probably be priced around the same price as the BYD Seal. If you look at the pricing of the Seal in China, it's pretty similar to this. This is a few percent more expensive than the Seal. Very, very similar though in terms of price. I think it'll be a similar price to the Model Y, but just a little bit cheaper than a Model Y. And the reason I think that is just that's what BYD do. They're kind of the new brand in Australia and in other countries, and they want to take market share, and they're willing to sell at pretty narrow margins. Now, getting to the Sea Lion, what do we know about it? Okay, like I said, a very similar size to the Model Y. It has the new motors, so it has a bit more power than the existing motor. BYD used that motor for a lot of different models. It has 150 kilowatt. It's about 190 horsepower, and sometimes they'll have two of those motors, but that's a very commonly used motor used in a lot of different BYD vehicles. Now, apparently that motor's been changed, and it has now 170 kilowatt in the base version. So a bit less power than a Tesla Model Y, and you can see that in the actual performance. It'll do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 7.3 seconds versus the Model Y 6.9. But keep in mind, in China, the Model Y has 90 horsepower more than the international version. So it's much faster in China. In fact, the Chinese version, it'll do 0 to 62 miles an hour in about 5.9 seconds. So that electric motor, 170 kilowatt, peak torque of 380 newton meters. That's the improvement. That's the change. That's about 220 horsepower. Like I said, comparing that to the Chinese version of the Model Y, it's clearly a bit slower, not quite as good, but you maybe wouldn't compare that one. In terms of range though, the battery pack size is very similar. It uses a 72 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate blade battery, and it gives a range of 550 kilometers. The Model Y in China, that version, the cheapest one, the standard range model, it has 554 kilometers. So almost identical range for the cheapest version of the Model Y in China versus the cheapest version of the Sea Lion. Now, if you're wondering the exact sizes, dimensions, they are 4,830 millimeters long, 1,925 millimeters wide, 1,620 millimeters tall. Wheelbase is 2,930 millimeters. So yeah, slightly bigger than a Model Y, not by much, but the interior dimensions will probably be very, very similar. Now there's 4 different options. You get 3 single motor rear wheel drive options. So a bit of a change here from BYD. A lot of their cars are front wheel drive. You buy front wheel drive and then you've got an all wheel drive option. They're moving away from that to rear wheel drive. I think that's a good decision. So the cheapest version is 190,000 RMB. So that's about 27,000 US dollars, which equates to around 40,000 Australian dollars. Now, are they going to cost 40,000 Australian dollars? No, I don't think so. They could start, I'm going to guess the cheapest version of the Sea Lion in Australia would start at around 55,000 Australian dollars. It's about $5,000 cheaper than the cheapest version of the Model Y. That would be my estimate, guys. Now, what are the other versions of this car? I've already outlined the power and the battery size of the most common, the version that's going to sell the most because it's the cheapest, but there is 2 mid-price variants. They both come with a more powerful single motor that has 230 kilowatt and it has 380 newton meters of torque. So that one has much more similar performance to the Model Y standard range. It'll do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6.7 seconds. Both variants come with a bigger blade battery. It's the same blade battery that's in the BYD Seal, the long range version of the Seal, 80.6 kilowatt hour blade battery. CLTC range is 610 kilometers for that version. Now, to give you a comparison to the equivalent Tesla Model Y, CLTC range of the Model Y in China for the long range version is 688 kilometers. Now, if Tesla was actually to bring out the long range rear wheel drive, the CLTC range of that model would be about 720 kilometers. Tesla may be doing that because they do sell that model now in Europe and they also sell that model in the United States. So it's very likely that Tesla will do that at some point over the next 6 months. And that would mean that that vehicle would have about 100 kilometers more range. We're talking a CLTC cycle here, but I'm trying to do this so that you can kind of get a picture of like purely for comparison's sake, right? Anyhow, the long-range version of the Model Y rear-wheel drive does have a fair bit more range, about 100 kilometers more range, but it might be a bit more expensive. So, I think BYD are going to come in and price this a bit lower than that version, giving you then the choice of, which one are you going to go for? You're going to pay a bit more, get the Model Y, you're going to pay a bit less, get the Sea Lion. Now, the Sea Lion is clearly a better looking car than the Model Y. I don't think there's any question about that. But the Model Y Juniper will be on the market, I believe, around about the 4th quarter of this year, and that's when the Sea Lion is likely to be on the market as well. So this vehicle will compete with the Model Y Juniper, and we don't really know exactly yet. There's a lot of reports coming out that the Model Y will use either an M3P battery, which is the hybrid, primarily lithium and possibly partly sodium battery, or manganese battery as well. There isn't also a manganese lithium battery that CATL have been manufacturing, working on with Tesla, but I think it's more likely that Tesla will actually use the Xpeng battery. That's the cheap lithium iron phosphate battery, which has much higher energy density than Tesla's existing LFP batteries. Now, keep in mind, around 60% of the cars Tesla sell worldwide use lithium iron phosphate batteries from either BYD or CATL. Those batteries have an energy density of about 170 watts per kilogram. But the new Shenzhen battery has an energy density of 205 watts per kilogram. In theory, if Tesla stuck with the exact same size batteries, they'd be getting around 15 to 20% more range, potentially. Anyhow, there is a performance version, and this will clearly compete with the performance version of the Tesla Model Y. It has two motors, combined peak power of 390 kilowatt, which is nearly 500 horsepower, and peak torque of 690 newton meters. It does 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds. The Model Y performance is around 3.7 seconds. It comes with a blade battery with the same battery pack as the long range versions, an 80.64 kilowatt hour battery, CLTC range of 550 kilometers. So guys, you might be thinking to yourself, why is the range of BYD's, the Sea Lion, why is it less than an equivalent Model Y using the same size battery pack, etc.? Well, one of the reasons is because I'm talking the standard range vehicles here, guys, the standard range Sea Lion versus the standard range Tesla Model Y. Now, the biggest reason is simply because Tesla vehicles are a little bit lighter than BYD's. That's the biggest reason. Now, there are some possible efficiency reasons, but that's when things start to get complicated. I think number one, simplest way to look at this is the biggest reason, the biggest contributor to the difference in range is simply the weight. And because of Tesla using gigacastings and other weight reduction methods, their vehicles are a bit lighter and therefore they're a bit more efficient. Now, does that mean you should buy a Tesla or this? You know what? I have no idea, because by the time both these vehicles come out, by the end of this year, fourth quarter of this year, very likely, we don't know how things are going to look, what the prices will be, what the features will be, what the performance will be. And when they come to market, I'll give you my definite opinion. I'm going to throw it out there. I know some people hate it sometimes. They get furious at me because I give my strong opinions on which one you should buy over another one. And some people who have bought that one that I tell you should buy the other one, they get really mad and they'll unsubscribe and that kind of thing. But hey, you've got to do it, right? You've got to do it. All four options of the Sea Lion 07 EV can be charged from 10% to 80% in 25 minutes. So clearly it's got pretty fast charging for it to be capable of charging that quickly. That's pretty good. I'm going to guess charging speeds, probably around 200 kilowatt charging speeds. The charging time from 80% to 100% is reduced to 18 minutes from the usual 30 minutes. Now, I don't know if that's real. I mean, 18 minutes from 80% to 100%, that seems very fast. But if it is, that's great. In extremely low temperatures, the Sea Lion 07 EV can reduce charging time by up to 40%, said BYD. Now, getting back to that charging speed from 80% to 100% in 18 minutes, you don't want to really do that, guys. Just my opinion. Probably not a good idea to fast charge your vehicle from 80 to 100%. Now, and when you're on a road trip, it's not really necessary anyway. You can slow charge your battery to 100%. Lithium iron phosphate battery, no problem. So, that's not an issue, but fast charging it from 80 to 100%, I don't personally think that's a good idea. The Sea Lion EV comes with an electric motor that spins at the new one, which will come for apparently most new BYD vehicles, spins at up to 23,000 RPM. Top speed, 225 kilometers an hour. It comes with Dialink 100 cockpit system. So basically BYD's new technology, the new screens, and it comes with DiPilot 100 driver assistance, sort of like Tesla Autopilot. It also has iTAC intelligent torque control system for better handling. So basically, Tesla and other EV manufacturers and BYD, they use software that can enable the motors to slow themselves down, and that kind of can actually improve your traction control. So you'll find that traction control on electric cars is significantly better than in internal combustion engine vehicles. BYD is offering customers who order a Sea Lion 07 EV a package that includes 0% down payment, a trade-in subsidy of up to 16,000 RMB, and a free 7 kilowatt home charging post and installation. Now, a 7 kilowatt home charging post and installation, that's going to cost BYD a fair bit of money. 0% down payment, trade-in subsidy of up to 16,000 RMB. Now, that's on top of whatever they pay for your trade-in vehicle. That's a really good deal on a vehicle that's already very, very affordable. You can really see why BYD is crushing it in China. I think this is a really nice car, and I really hope that we get this as soon as possible, because it's going to lead to even more people, ditching their gasoline, ditching their petrol cars, and going electric. Thanks for watching.